Hello and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering EDH deck tech idea. A few weeks ago I made a video about Jury, Master of the Review, and just a few days later I immediately found a way better version than Jury. Stay tuned as we talk about Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. But before we jump into today's video, I want to make a shout out for Mythatom. Check out their high quality Magic the Gathering and other fantasy products via the link in the notes below and use my discount code LATSEL for 10% off your order. In my opinion, Evereth is the way better version, even though she doesn't care about all permanent types, but her death trigger is way stronger simply because she targets every of your opponents. In this deck, we want to make her a huge threat by sacrificing creatures and artifacts and other value pieces to grow her to a huge power amount, simultaneously also swing with her because she has flying and we can also enable lifelink, and have some instant speed sacrifice outlets to simply sacrifice her, then pay the 2 mana to ping all of our opponents out of the game. As Evereth is a bit more pricey than Jury, we will spend our early game either with ramping or playing small value pieces, which will provide even more value once Evereth is on the battlefield. For example, we would like to cast Ica Wellspring, a great value piece that replaces itself, and once Evereth is on the battlefield we can sacrifice it to net another card. We also play Mycosynth Wellspring, a great card that fixes our land drops for a few turns, and once Evereth is on the battlefield we can sacrifice it into Evereth to fix our curve again. We also play Prize Statue, simply because it is another artifact which also creates treasure tokens which can be used to synergize nicely with Evereth. To create a few tokens which we can use as jump blockers, we also play Servo Schematics. Another great card which also has a high payoff in the late game is Impulsive Pilferer, simply because of its encore mechanic. And if you're into Standard, you know how strong Greedy Freebooter is. This is a great 1-drop which we can either scale into one of our sacrifice spells for even more value, or simply later on sacrifice into Evereth. There are a bunch of other synergistic cards that we play in this deck. For example, Mayhem Devil. As we are a sacrifice deck and Mayhem Devil cares about all types of permanents from every player, he is a must play in this deck. Simply because we sacrifice also a bunch of creatures, we play Pitiless Plunderer. This is probably one of the most synergistic creatures in this whole deck, simply because he creates treasure tokens which we can also sacrifice into Evereth or use to scale into other powerful spells of ours. Talking about treasure synergy, we play Zorn. This is basically a win more card, simply because he scales all of our treasure synergies way better. To never run out of gas, we also play Morbid Opportunist, simply to draw a bunch of cards over the course of the game. When it comes to synergies in this deck, we definitely have to play the Nuka-Cola vending machine, simply because it is a great outlet for us to create artifacts, and whenever we sacrifice one of those artifacts we will get another artifact. As we not only rely on our commander to nuke our opponents out of the game, we will also drain them down over the course of the game. This is why we play Agent of the Iron Throne, one of my favorite backgrounds, simply because it synergizes with creatures and with artifacts. When it comes to that point, we definitely have to play Marionette Apprentice. This one also brings along a server token which we can sacrifice into Evereth. Talking about drain synergies, then we definitely have to auto-include Mirkwood Bats. Kinda a similar effect, but not that strong as Mirkwood Bats, but still worth playing is Nadir's Nightblade. As for me personally, it is really important that we target all of our opponents with our drain. We also play Zulaport Cutthroat, not only to stabilize, but to keep them all at an even life total, so that as soon Evereth dies, we can nuke them all out at once. Due to the fact that Evereth has to die, we also play Rakdos Joins Up. Sure, this is a single target ping, but it also serves as a reanimation tool later in the game. As we want to scale nicely into our curve, we also play a few of the following bombs. For example, Cavernhorde Dragon. This is definitely a powerful dragon in the air which can clap your opponents immediately due to haste, and it also synergizes nicely with what we want to do, simply because he creates us a bunch of artifacts. When it comes to even more value in synergy with Evereth, we play Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. We definitely want to sacrifice this one at some point to either create even more tokens or to impulse ourselves if we are in a tougher spot. When it comes to creating treasure tokens, and as we are in red, we definitely have to play Ancient Copper Dragon. If this one can connect, we will be sure to create a bunch of treasure tokens which we can sacrifice into Evereth. When it comes to artifact synergies, we definitely have to play Stridehanger Automaton. It brings along a really powerful replacement effect which we can use to get a way higher payoff out of all of our synergies. Along the way, for even more impulse advantage or creating treasure tokens to scale into our game, we play Professional Facebreaker. This creature itself itself has Menace, which will most likely make it connect in one turn, but Evereth also has Flying, which means that we can also get 2 triggers out of the Professional Facebreaker. Even though Evereth's Sacrifice outlet only works at sorcery speed, we also play the Ophiomancer. There are a few other sacrifice outlets that we have in this deck, and having Death Touching Snakes is definitely worth having, simply to disincentivize your opponents from attacking you. And if you want to win even more games, play these cards. Due to the fact that Evereth's death trigger says that she deals the damage, we play Tainted Strike. This will give our creature Infect, which can lead to winning us on the spot if she is big enough. It definitely helps if you don't have to count down from 30 rather than 10. If you don't want to go for the Infect approach, you can also play Unleash Fury. At some point, Evereth will be a 10-10 or also a 15-15, and if we then use Unleash Fury, which will still leave us with a lot of mana available, we can sacrifice her and then immediately nuke our opponents out of the game. And to make sure that we always have sacrifice fodder, we play 9 Lives Familiar. This is a powerful creature which we can repeatedly sacrifice into Evereth's ability, and so it will provide us with a bunch of sacrifice fodder for at least a few turns. Alright guys, these were a few cards that I would play in Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. Let me know which cards you would add to the deck, which legendary creature I shall feature next. Make sure to check out my full deck list in the notes below, and then I would say see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.